Good morning, folks. Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and we're in luck because we're on the agronomy farm on the K-State campus here in Manhattan. And every year, about this time of year, the department puts on a crop diagnostic school for crop consultants around the state. And we're going to be talking to some of the participants and some of the presenters here about what they're talking about and what's important. So get your cup of coffee, come on back, and we'll start the show.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and we're in luck because we're on the agronomy farm here at the K-State campus, and we're at the 2015 Crop Diagnostic School. And with us, we have Dr. Dorivar Ruiz-Diaz. He is the manager, chairperson for the field day. And Dorivar, thanks for joining us, and kind of tell us the history, who participates, and what the topics are.
Yes, Jim, thank you very much for visiting us today. The Crop Diagnostic School has been going on for many years, actually, before I got here, probably about...
I think it's in the mid-'80s, actually.
In the mid-'80s, something like that. So it's really a tradition already in the Department of Agronomy, and it's primarily focused on certified crop advisors in the state of Kansas to provide training opportunities for them in different topics related to agronomy, pathology, insects, and kind of the idea is to really do a little bit more in the field, more practical, look
hands-on.
at hands-on in a way that keep small groups and try to maximize the interaction between specialists and the participants. We also have a very good group of extension agents and students sometimes that join, which I think is very, very useful because you have that relation between crop advisors as well as extension personnel also working together.
So you have crop consultants from across the state and sometimes Nebraska, and you have county agents, and these are basically for continuing ed units, educational units, right?
Yes, it's basically for continuing education, and again, they work very closely, obviously, with producers, providing advice and working with the producers. But again, every year they come back here to the Department of Agronomy and kind of work through some of the topics are a little bit of a review of some of the things I've probably already seen before. For some of the new advisors, maybe some new topics. But we always try to also include some current topics, issues that we are seeing currently in the state in terms of crop production, new technologies, try to expose a little bit of that as well and discuss.
I see that Lucas Haig is going to be talking about precision ag technologies later today and tomorrow.
Yes, and we do have, again, we usually invite faculty, not just from agronomy, but also from ag engineering, plant pathology, entomology, and again, they bring a little bit different perspective as well to the agronomy topics in general.
Okay, good deal. Dorivar, thank you for taking time and kind of giving us the overview. We're going to spend a little time talking to the various participants and see what they're going to be talking about today and tomorrow. So thanks again, Dorivar.
Thank you very much.
Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Healthy cows start with the new Hired Hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher. Get the new Hired Hand for yourself or become a distributor. Visit cowsprayer.com. The new Hired Hand makes healthy cows easy.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
And the higher the exchange capacity of the soil, the less it moves.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. As you know, we're at the agronomy farm today at the 2015 Crop Diagnostics School. And one of our participants is Dr. David Mingle. Dr. Dave here has been a former department head in the department a number of years ago, and he came from the dark side back over to the light side to become a regular old faculty member. He's our soil fertility specialist, and he's going to be talking today at the Crop Diagnostics School about soybean nutrition, soybean fertility. So Dave, kind of give us an overview what you're going to be talking about today.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about 2 or 3 basic concepts, and one of the key things will be soil testing, and a little bit particularly focusing on pH, because as legumes, soybeans really do respond to good soil pHs, and they really get hurt by acid soils, which are a major problem here in Kansas, surprisingly.
Right.
So that'll be one of the big emphases. We'll also talk a little bit about phosphorus and some of the newer research we've got that will modify perhaps some of the things we've been thinking in the past.
Okay, give us a little flavor for that.
For example, we've been doing some soil test correlation and calibration, trying to figure the appropriate soil test level for soybeans and how well do they respond to fertilizer. And the bottom line is they don't respond to fertilizer very well, they respond to fertility.
Okay.
And so it takes a little different thought process to manage that. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
But then the good news is they don't need as much fertility as some of our other crops.
Right.
So,
I interrupted you. Go ahead.
but
and
that's
continue.
okay. Then we're going to talk also about some of the nitrogen aspects, the nodulation issues, particularly as we expand soybean acres under new ground that has not had soybeans in the past.
And of course, that's the pH goes into
And
that
pH,
as well.
yes, pH
Yeah,
fits
like you
right
were
along
saying.
with that. So
Okay.
those are 2 really important aspects of this. And then, and also for the guys that are irrigators that have very high yield potentials, we'll talk a little bit about potentially tweaking the nitrogen with a little late application. And then the last thing we'll talk about is quality control. How do we know if we're doing it right? And then we'll talk about particularly about plant analysis and some of the ways that we can utilize plant analysis in soybean production.
But isn't plant analysis, isn't that kind of late to the game? I mean, by the time you
Yes.
figure out what the problem is, boom, it's too late.
Well, I like to think of it that it's very early. It's for the next crop.
Oh, okay, okay.
Is the way I like to think about it. But you're absolutely right. You can't do a lot for that particular crop with most plant analysis results. But you can figure out where I'm at. Is there something else I should be taking a hard look at? And I think that's one of the tools we need to, that next step that we need to do in terms of management.
What about potassium? Are you going to be talking about potassium?
We
at
will
all?
talk about potassium because that's also a really key point, particularly for the eastern third of the state.
Right, so especially, yeah, eastern,
Southeast and south central.
And then are you going to talk about some unusual things like iron chlorosis or?
We'll talk
or,
a little bit about iron chlorosis, but we won't talk a great deal about it.
Of course, that goes back to pH. I mean, on
Again,
the,
pH,
on
and
the
it's
high
not
side.
something we can do a lot with other than variety selection, and perhaps we can do some minor spraying with some foliar applications or some seed treatments, but it's one where we really need to understand our soils with soil testing, and pH and organic matter, and then look at variety selection.
Dave, I appreciate it. I hope you have a good field day today, and thanks again, and thanks for coming over from the dark side.
You're welcome.
Folks, we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. As fourth-generation farmers themselves, they understand the importance of using the correct products on every acre. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag offers quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia. Call today at 800-760-4964 or find us online at HeinenBrothersAg.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, and with us on this section we have Dr. Lucas Haig. Lucas is our Northwest area agronomist, and he's big into precision ag. And of course, early in his career, that was his love. But now he's an agronomist, but he still kind of goes toward the precision ag stuff. So, Lucas, we're here at the field day, the Crop Diagnostic School. Kind of tell us what you're going to be talking to the participants about regarding precision ag.
Yeah, so Jim, we got really two things we're focusing on, and again, it comes back to looking at this interface between the technology and the machinery piece of it, and what's it mean to us from an agronomic standpoint.
Right.
And so some of the equipment we've got here on display is AJ Sharda's group over in Ag Engineering is looking at electric drive planters. They've got turn compensation, individual row, down pressure control, and so then that goes into the discussion of what's that mean to us from an agronomic standpoint. Does it help us get more consistent depth of placement, better seed to soil contact? And then again, and still driving down to getting that plant-to-plant spacing correct on every row.
Within a row spacing.
Within a row spacing.
Okay.
So we're going to start with that, and then we're going to transition into talking about broader using data, small data. There's all this talk about big data, but how do we use small data? How do we use our yield monitor data, our soil test data on our farm to make some better decisions?
That's always been an interesting concept, because you have these monitors in the combine, and so what? You get all this information. How do you use it?
Yeah, and that's been the big challenge. And today we've got lots of producers that have 10 years of yield data sitting on a computer somewhere, but how do we put it to work? And so we talked a little bit about implementing variable rate corn seeding is one of what we use as an example to talk about how we can use multiple years of yield data, use what we know about the seeding rate yield response for a given hybrid, and a real simple approach producers could use that to develop a recommendation.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the variable rate thing. How would you use it in a field like we have behind us here, on a Wymore soil like we have behind us?
Sure. So even in places where we got uniform soil types, if we look at yield maps, we still have yield variability,
sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. So if we layer multiple years of that together and we normalize it, okay, so a value of 1 is field average, and say 1.4 is 140% of field average.
Right. Okay,
so we look
at
that long-term average. Then it's just as simple as sitting down with the producer and saying, okay, for this hybrid that you're going to use, on this area, say the field average is 204 bushel, okay? And the clear upper end is 260, and the producer say, well, I think for this hybrid I really need to be planting 36,000 to hit that 260.
Right.
And maybe it's got a sand lens or something in it, and so the low yield potential might only be 100. The producer says, well, I only need 15,000 really to hit that 100
in that area, the field
area.
low yielding area.
Yep. And so then it's just a matter of fitting a straight line to that, and we've got our normalized multi-year yield map, and we just fit that to it, and there's our variable rate seeding prescription.
Right. So some areas of the field has the 34, 36,000, some has the 15 or 16,000.
Exactly. All about trying to match that seeding rate to the yield potential of that particular spot in the field, using our past yield monitor data to tell us what its potential is.
What else you got for us today?
So the other piece of that is the other thing that phosphorus removal is good for or yield data is good for is phosphorus removal. Those are good numbers. If we got yield data, if you got wheat yield map, we know that we remove about a half pound of P per bushel of wheat. Wheat yield map times 0.5 gives you a phosphorus removal map. Makes it real easy to variable rate apply some phos back on the field.
Okay. Well, Lucas, I really appreciate you taking time with us and here and regarding this field day. And folks, stay with us. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484. That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer. We're at the Crop Diagnostic School here at the Agronomy Farm on the campus of K-State. And with us we have Dr. Peter Tomlinson. He's our environmental quality specialist. And he's obviously a presenter here at the field day. So Peter, tell us what you're talking to the participants about. I kind of got an idea, but I want to hear it from you.
So Jim, today we're talking about soil biology. Who lives in our soil and what do they do? And this is an opportunity for the participants to get some basics of soil microbiology, an understanding of the different bacteria and fungi that live in our soil, but also our larger organisms.
Okay.
So our earthworms.
We're not talking about gophers here, are we?
Well, no, we're not talking about gophers. We're talking about earthworms, mites, nematodes, all of the creatures, small creatures from the visible to the microscopic.
Okay.
And so the participants in this program have a chance to spend some time looking at the microscope. I've got stained corn and soybean roots, and they can look at those roots, and we've been finding mycorrhizal infection of those roots.
Now, when you use the word infection, I think bad things, but mycorrhizal infection, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Mycorrhizae are a fungi. They're important in bringing both nutrients and water to the plant. In exchange for that benefit, the plant is providing carbon-rich compounds to the fungi so that they can
somewhat of a symbiotic relationship here.
It really is. It's a symbiotic, mutual relationship where both are benefiting, and certainly in soils that have low phosphorus fertility, mycorrhizae play a very important role in the plant getting adequate phosphorus. And then we're also looking at soybean nodules. Participants have a chance to dissect a nodule and look at the inside of the nodule. We're seeing that red color, the leg hemoglobin in those nodules. And then
which indicates it's actively producing nitrogen for the plant,
right? Actively producing nitrogen. And then the other thing that we've done today is I've taken some soil and just a simple water gravity extraction to that's sat for about 24 hours, and so we're collecting in a petri dish. We collect that water, and we're looking at the participants have a chance to scan that water and look for mites, nematodes, springtails,
all the little critters.
All the little critters in the soil
that make the soil soil.
That make the soil that process our organic matter, break it down, and convert those nutrients into plant available nutrients for the future crop.
Peter, I appreciate it. I'm sure the participants are kind of scratching their head and said, I didn't know these things were here. So Peter, appreciate you taking time and telling us what you're talking about today.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe. Here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Here's another gardening tip with Annette Jackson from Jackson's Greenhouse.
If you missed the opportunity to apply crabgrass preventer to your lawn last month, there's still time. Apply Fertilum's new product, Professional Turf Weed Out Plus Crabgrass Preventer. This product kills new crabgrass, it also prevents new crabgrass and other weeds, kills dandelions and fertilizes your lawn, all in one application.
Visit Jackson's. We'll show you how to grow the best lawn in your neighborhood.
Jackson's Greenhouse has what you need today.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host, and in this last segment, we got with us Greg Hudek. And Greg, being a Nebraska native, I'll talk to you anyway. But you've been in the state as long as you've been out of state.
Yeah.
So anyway, Greg is works with Bayer Chemicals and has been attending this particular crop diagnostic school for years and years. And so tell us, Greg, how do you find this school? How do you use it in your work?
Well, for me personally, you can see I've got some gray hair like you, Jim.
Okay, thanks for pointing out the obvious.
But for me, it's really a good refresher course on continuing to update me with some of the knowledge concerning crops and production practices and fungicides and disease diagnosis and insects refreshing courses and herbicide traits and performance of herbicides. It's really a great refresher course because, you know, as you age, you kind of forget some things, so it's a nice place to go back and kind of get refreshed. And we use this course to bring our new reps in, our new employees, and get them kind of, you know, schooled up, if you will, and educate them on the facets we talked about, weed ID, insect ID.
Things that they're going to be seeing in their everyday work.
Mm-hmm. And so it's just a great course, whether you're young to the business or fairly old to the business. There's always something new that you can always learn. You can never stop learning, and of course, it's a great refresher course in many cases.
Right.
And the new innovations, you know, like last year we had the drones that were here, and so that was nice to see that technology coming forward.
Right. And as a professional, you have to have these.
Yeah, some of us and many of us that attend this class are certified crop advisors, and so we have to have our credits, continuing education classes, to keep that credentials, you know, established and
up to date.
So we use this to gain those education classes and those points, if you will. So it's a multifaceted type event for me in different ways. Yes.
Okay.
And we've actually this year we have 3 people from Texas from Bayer Crop Science attending. So we kind of extend our invitations out to other parts of the states too.
Okay, so bringing it. So it's a pretty good program for the region, not just for the state.
Yeah,
but we have surrounding states that come to it too.
I know the people come to Missouri's been here. Some Nebraska people have been here. So yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know you've been coming since the mid '80s when we first started the program.
Yes. I've only missed 1 year, Jim, in 20 or some years, whatever it's been. Right. Yeah. So it's been a good class. I encourage people to come.
Okay, Greg, I appreciate it. You taking time out of the program.
You're looking good, Jim.
Oh, well, thank you. You too, fella. You too. Thanks a lot, Greg. Folks, thanks for being with us on this show today. And just remember, next week about this same time, there will be another show of That's My Farm. See you then.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.